All right, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. This is Angela Brown, Project Lead with the Youth CareerConnect program. Thank you all for joining us on today's Technical Assistance webinar, Creative Strategies for Recruitment and Community Outreach. We're going to get started today. If you've not already done so, please, on the right hand of your screen, there's a polling question. If you can answer that, it'll help us be a little more interactive today and get some feedback from the grantees and participants today. So please take a few moments to answer that. We'll have a few more throughout the presentation. And we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to turn it over to Maisha Meminger. So Maisha, you can take it away.
Thank you, Angela. I just wanted to say, well, in fact, I will be, Angela did a great introduction, so we're going to be talking about engaging our community, getting them on board, being able to tell folks about our program and how to best do that, and getting some strategies for that. So I will be moderating or making sure that you have any questions. Please put them into our question or chat area so we can capture those. Also, please remember, I'm going to say this probably 2 or 3 times, but after the webinar, it's very important that we ask everybody to take our survey to make sure that the webinar was, you learned something, that it was done well, and any suggestions for future TA. As you know, we're always looking to hear from you all on things that we can do for you to help the program along. And without further ado, I'm going to invite Julie Baumgartner to start us off and to share a little bit about herself and her expertise, and to share with us those strategies that we need to basically to tell the community about our program, especially our parents, our students, and our business partners. So, Julie, you can take it away.
I'm coming from, I actually came out of the corporate America into the nonprofit realm 18 years ago, and have been working at First Things First, initially as the Associate Director and now as the CEO since 2001. And we are a nonprofit that's dedicated to strengthening families. We actually work in all of our area high schools and teach healthy dating relationship skills, soft skills, if you will, to young people, along with a whole host of other things. But that's a direct connect to you today. And I came to this with no marketing background, no outreach or community engagement. That's not my background. I'm a counselor by training. So I say that as I head into this to say that when we talk about recruitment and we talk about outreach, if you've never had any experience with that and you are basically focused on being an educator or being someone who administrates a program, a project director, that's cool. I think you will find some things that I'm going to talk about that will be very helpful that I've learned over the 18 years that I've been doing this. So we'll launch into this, and we've designed this to be interactive. There are some times throughout the presentation where we're going to have some questions on the right side of your screen, and we will ask you to engage in conversation with us. So you know our goals for this are to give some creative strategies for recruitment, to talk about how do you reach out and tell the story in an effective way, and how do you leverage your relationships to accomplish your goals. In talking about what we're trying to accomplish, ultimately, I think we're all on the same page, that we want more students to graduate from high school prepared to enter college or the workforce. I know your last month's webinar was on employer engagement, and I think what we're talking about today dovetails really nicely with that. There are some things that I'm going to talk about that you may have talked about last time or may have just kind of scratched the surface with that I may cover in a bit more detail. But the overarching goal here is really to create an initiative where your community, in addition to you, really takes ownership of this initiative so that there's sustainability. 4 years goes by really fast, and you feel like, gosh, we're just on the beginning side of things, but the reality is you blink and you're going to be at year number 4, and the question is going to be, okay, how are we going to sustain this? And that's such an important piece of this. So we're going to be talking about collaboration, mobilization, creating momentum, and excitement around what you're doing. I think the first thing that we really need to look at is the art of storytelling, creating awareness. I am sure if you are like me, you feel like you talk about this, you live, eat, and breathe Youth Career Connect. And in your community, you would just feel like, how is it that people have no clue this is going on, yet there are lots of people who have no clue that this is going on. And so in order to effectively recruit and have outreach, you've got to create awareness around what is happening with your initiative. People need understanding about what Youth Career Connect is and is not. And I can tell you from experience with First Things First, we will often ask people, do you know about First Things First? Oh, yes. Well, what is it that you know about us? Well, I know you do something that has to do with family. So in reality, they really don't know what we do. They've just heard our name. And that's quite possibly the case for you all in your different communities. People may have heard Youth Career Connect. They have no idea what you really do. So the goal is to create awareness, to bring understanding to what it is you are trying to accomplish, and then to give opportunity to people. What is it you want them to do? So we asked you 2 questions as you were joining the webinar. The first one is, do you actually have someone who is responsible for recruitment and outreach? And then the second question was, what's the most creative thing you've done to date to create awareness? So can we open the line so that people can talk for just a moment? And if someone has something that you think is particularly creative, would you be willing to share it?
Okay, so Angela, if you want to do that, and for folks who want to participate on the poll, please do that. And Angela can give us instructions on how to unmute our phone or the computer, or to raise your hand. Angela, what would you like them to do? Raise their hand?
If you want to share something, if you want to send us a chat, or if there's a way to, I'm not sure you have to raise your hand, but if you want to send us a chat, I can unmute your line so that you can share that. It looks like 56% of those that answered said that yes, you do have a specific person responsible for recruitment and community outreach, and about 44% said no. So about half and half of those that answered the poll. So again, send me a chat if you want to share something out loud. A few of the answers we did receive. We have presented at church meetings, Rotary, Aquinas, and any place that would take us.
I love it.
Exclamation point. We've created a business partnership form that we take with us whenever we are around businesses in our district. They can choose all the ways they would like to play with us or help us out. And others have gone out to the community and talked with employers.
Okay.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Sounds good.
And Jim Lynch said, we've developed a Fab Lab as part of the grant. We have created a series of open houses and Saturday workshops.
Great.
Wonderful. That's terrific. So I think one of the things that would be very helpful, I know we all get running in our lanes really fast, and we forget that there are other people out there that are doing the same thing, and we often set out like there's nothing to draw from. We've all got some creative ideas, so really sharing and not reinventing the wheel is helpful. So we will try and take the ideas that you've shared and send them out at the end of the webinar. So we'll keep going. The art of storytelling, I want to talk about this for a few minutes because it is really important that if someone walked up to you in an elevator and said, what exactly is Youth Career Connect? That in 30 seconds or less, you could very concisely answer who you are, what you do, and what's the benefit to the community. And so one of the things that we want to know from you is, can you describe what you are specifically doing in your community in 3 sentences or less? When you're reaching out to people, you know, I'm constantly asking myself and our team for the work that we do here. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about the work that I do. I love it. I spend a lot of time thinking about it. But the reality is not everybody's passionate about this. And so the question for me is, if I didn't work here and I wasn't doing this work, would I be paying attention to what's happening with First Things First? And I think that that's a powerful question for you to ask yourself and to ask your team. If you didn't work there and you weren't required to be doing this, would you come to some of the things that you're offering? Would you be interested in the information that you're putting out, or would it just be more of the clutter that's already out there in people's lives? The questions that we need to ask ourselves: what is Youth Career Connect? Being able to answer that in 3 sentences or less. Why is this a good thing for your community? Why should people engage with you? There's a million and one things that people can engage with, and so why you? Have we talked about what the difference is in earnings for a high school dropout versus a graduate? Many of you have probably done that. I'm telling you, it is amazing to me. I assume people know there's a significant difference there, but often when I present and I have a conversation about that, people are amazed. They know there's a difference. They don't know how big a difference. Then actually telling people what I need you to do to help recruit, mentor, be a part of apprenticeships, come to the table with your company and do X number of things. And then what is the potential economic impact if we get this right in our community? If we increase the number of kids who graduate, if we increase the number of kids who, when they graduate, they don't want to go to college, but they're ready to work, we increase the ready-to-work workforce, what is the potential impact for our community? Being able to put numbers next to that. How does this help prevent poverty? What's happening with generational poverty in your community? And how is Youth Career Connect a part of helping to break the cycle of poverty in your community? And what are your outcome measures? What is it that you're seeking to accomplish? And being able to be very clear with that. Having the answers to all of those questions, you're not going to share that every single time you speak, but having that in your hip pocket and being prepared with it no matter where you are makes a huge difference. I can remember when we initially started First Things First and we said we're dedicated to strengthening families, my husband, who is in sales, kept saying to me, I get who you are, and I get that you teach classes and you're teaching people skills. I need to understand what is the benefit. What is in it for me? And we're going to talk about that a little bit further, but if you remember, feature, function, benefit. We need to answer those questions every time. Most of us stay at feature and function. We talk a lot about who we are, and we talk a lot about what we do, but we fail to talk about the benefit. So I want to encourage you to think that through as you're preparing to tell your story or to take your story to the next level. And we've asked you a couple of questions. One is, in 3 sentences or less, can you describe Youth Career Connect? And then secondly, why is Youth Career Connect a good thing for your community to support? And even if you don't answer that while we're on the webinar, I hope you'll take the time to really think that through with your team. One of the things that we talk a lot about, everybody has the job of recruitment. On our team, everybody recruits. I don't care who you are. I want to make sure that because we're out in the community and because we all have a sphere of influence, everybody needs to know how to tell the story. Now, there may be some designated hitters that are the ones who actually go out and speak at Rotary or speak at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, but everybody needs to know how to tell the story. Everybody needs talking points. Everybody needs to be fluid and not be stuttering around what it is you do and why you do it. So speaking to that, I talk a lot about 6 degrees of separation in terms of outreach and being able to bring ownership to this initiative. If you think about your own sphere of influence, where do you live? Where do you worship? Where do your kids go to school? Where do you shop? Where Where does your spouse or partner, significant other work? Where do you play? That is your sphere of influence. And in all of those areas, you have relationship with people. You have relationship capital with people. You've earned credibility. You've earned the right to speak. You've earned the right to be heard. And within that sphere of influence, you're probably 6 degrees of separation or less with your entire community, including CEOs of companies, elected officials, you name it. My team laughs at me a lot because when I meet people, I'm constantly trying to make connections. Where do you live? So where have you worked before? I'm trying to figure out who they know. And one time we were actually creating a fathering event, and we were trying to get to Dale Murphy. He is a Hall of Famer for the Braves. And in the process of that, I just kept running into brick walls. Well, we were actually doing some research with Worthland Worldwide, and I was on the phone with the person who was our account rep and responsible for doing the research piece for us. And I found out he lived in Utah, and I said, "You don't happen to know Dale Murphy, do you?" And he said, "Well, actually, as a matter of fact, he's my neighbor." And at that point, there were several people on my team who were sitting around the table who just rolled their eyes and started laughing. But literally, it was that phone conversation with our account rep that got the ball rolling, that literally made it possible for us to get Dale Murphy here for a huge fathering event. If I had never asked the question, I don't know that I would have gotten to him. And so what I would like for you to do for just a second is think about who are the people in your sphere of influence that if you can't get to the CEO of a company or you can't get the speaking engagement at the Chamber of Commerce or the Manufacturers Association or in front of a group of people you want to get in front of, who are the 10 people that you need to talk to that can really help you take your initiative to the next level? Who are the connectors? Who are the networkers? Who is it that when you think about who knows everybody in town, that person, regardless whether you know them or not, who are they?
There always is an unofficial mayor in mayors in every town, right, or every area. Somebody who everybody knows their mom, or that person's always volunteering. So we never think about the fact that we should have these groups, these people in our pocket, have them on our Rolodex, and just we don't think that the lady who goes to the church is that connector, but she goes to church with a lot of different types of people. She may volunteer with that person, right? She may be on the Rotary Club or an organization with some of these kind of heavy hitters, and we don't think to talk to her about who else do you know. So that's a great way to think about making those connections, thinking outside the box.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's so funny. We think about the people who are on our radar, who are kind of out there, but the truth is there are a lot of people in the community who fly underneath the radar, and they are extremely influential. And I'll tell you two of the most influential groups: beauty salons and barbershops. They talk to everybody. Beauty salons, yes. I used to work in psychiatric mental health care, and we went out and reached out to all of the hairdressers, and we had conversations with them about the network of resources that they had access to help people that they probably did not know about, and they felt very helpless about because people were telling them their problems and they had no idea where to go. I promise you, a place to network for Youth CareerConnect is beauty shops and barber shops. They know everybody, and they talk to everybody. They get to spend 30 minutes at minimum with most every single customer.
Love it. I love it. That's great.
So think through. Another one, pediatrician offices. The office manager, that person calls the shots. And if, you know, healthcare clinics, those types of places where there is face-to-face, people-to-people interaction, if they understand what you are trying to accomplish and you are trying to help young people, they will come on board and be your biggest advocate. So the very last slide in this presentation is think outside the box and act outside the box. And that is one of those places. It's an unlikely partner. It costs you nothing, but it's a great way to reach out and create opportunity for recruitment. So who's in your sphere of influence? How can you leverage those relationships to help you meet your goals when it comes to Youth CareerConnect? Next, I want you to think about sharing your story with the masses. You think about how many other entities are out there wanting to share their story. I would tell you, out of sight, out of mind, that if you have told your story once, that's not enough. You need to keep going back. You need to keep sharing more information, new stories, new testimonies, because there is a tremendous amount of static out there, especially with the way that technology is right now. I mean, my gut is that even while you are listening to this webinar and you might be looking at the slides, you're probably also checking your email and checking your phone. We are all connected. And in order to get people to stop, look at you, and pay attention, you have to figure out ways to rise above the static. And you have to keep in mind that it takes a minimum of 7 times of engagement with a person, a group of people, for them to really notice what it is you're doing or talking about. In terms of knowing your audience, I just think it's very, very important to recognize right message for the audience you're trying to reach is vital. I was looking at a wonderful piece that the Community Foundation did in Prince George's County that showed data and outcomes and all kinds of information. Fantastic piece for businesses. They want to know all of that information. Parents want to know a different set of information. They may want to know some of the things that were in that printed piece, or that's online, but they want it in a different format. And young people want an incredibly different format than that. So we have to think about who is your audience and ultimately what's your end goal. If you do nothing else with them, when you walk away, what is it that you want them saying? And for me, I want them going, holy cow, that Youth CareerConnect, I'm going to get connected to that, and I'm going to help get other people connected to that, because that's our ticket. That is our ticket when it comes to these kids and helping them to be prepared for the real world. We want them ready to launch. So we need testimonials, and we need testimonials not just from businesses, but you need students. I know you're in year 1 or you're into your 2nd year, but you have a full year under your belt. So you've got some students who probably have had some amazing experiences. And here's what I think about this. Not only do I want them to be able to learn how to tell this story, I want them to know that I have confidence in them. I trust them with telling this story for what we're trying to accomplish. There's so much about this that is preparing them for the real world. I know I work with young people who get out of high school and have no idea how to get up in front of a group of people and speak. And you think about us as adults. It is a very small percentage of the adult population, I think it's like 8%, that are willing to get up in front of an adult audience and speak. Everybody else freaks out and has panic attacks. And so a service that we can do for these young people as part of their learning process is teaching them how to get up and without saying and okay and right and all those filler things, teach them how to be confident and quickly tell your story. It's huge. And then the last thing is what's in it for me, and this is where I go back up to make it personal. I asked you earlier, why do you do what you do? That's a piece of this in terms of your passion, but being able to share that. I don't just do what I do for a paycheck. I do it because when I see the light bulb come on for these kids, their eyes dance when they see the technology. They're excited that I actually believe they have the skill set to accomplish a healthcare career. Those kinds of things, we've got to make it personal. It's not just a job. It's not just going down and doing the check marks of, okay, I've told these things. Why do you do that? And then tell them what is in it for them, whether they're the parent, the student, the Rotary Club, the CEO, business person. What's in it for them? What is the win? So my question to you is, if you were engaging with the CEO of a medium-sized company, the CEO is super busy, he's expending a lot of energy growing his company, and he's asking you, why should I spend my time and energy being connected with Youth Career Connect? Or why would I want to bring apprenticeships to my company? What would you say to them? And I would love at this point to open the lines and allow people to have some dialogue about this. What would you say to that CEO?
So I'm hoping, okay, go ahead, Angela.
I was just going to say, if anyone wants to add something, if you want to just send a chat out and I can unmute your line so you can share with that.
Please do.
Okay. Everybody's quiet, so we'll roll on.
They're multitasking. They're multitasking.
No doubt.
We appreciate them. Absolutely.
I think it's important to think about that. So I wanted to give you an example, and I've been on many of your websites. I've read through lots of information about all of you, and you guys are doing some amazing things. I ran across this example that was actually on a web page, and if you read this, it is a great paragraph. It has some excellent descriptor words. This is not your regular high school experience program, an innovative model, personalized learning, successful in college and careers, post-secondary. Let's see, if you're looking for an opportunity to prepare yourself for post-secondary and in a competitive workforce through employer engagement, blah, 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 this is for you. This is a great paragraph if we were talking to companies and we changed the language a bit, or we were talking to parents and said, if you're really looking for something exceptional for your high school age teen, if you're looking for something that's going to be personalized learning, it's going to be innovative, it's going to give them the knowledge and skills, and it's going to be experiential in the process and prepare them for college and career, and so forth and so on. This is a fantastic paragraph. If you were thinking about gearing this towards teenagers, I would say when I talk with teens and when I look at what teens are doing today, they want pictures and they want videos, which I know slays educators. It's like, seriously, are you kidding me? I get it. But we have got to meet people where they are, not necessarily where we want them to be. And so taking that example and jumping off of it, if you thought about table tents or posters in bathroom stalls, posters around school or rec centers where young people gather, and you had something like tired of the same old high school experience, interested in real-world learning, like the idea of a paycheck, then check out Youth Career Connect, a different way of doing high school. I think the goal is we've got to empathize with our audience. Kids, just as much as I want them to read, they don't read. And so giving them something in pictures, putting videos on Facebook, getting the teens to do videos themselves of why other teens ought to be a part of this, and you know, using that to put up on your high school Facebook page, engaging them in the way that they like to be engaged. Business leaders, they want the return on investment. They want the data. Young people, they want to know, yes, I'm going to get something out of this. It's going to help me, and the win for me is that I'm going to be prepared to get a paycheck, and I might even get a paycheck in the process through an apprenticeship or internship. And then empower them to do something, act on it, come be a part of this in some way, shape, or form. I think we've got to think about how we talk to people when, I mean, you watch the kids' eyes just glaze over. They're not paying attention to us, and I don't want them to not pay attention to us. I want them to connect to what we're talking about doing. So where are your opportunities to tell the stories?
Julie?
Yes.
I just want to jump in. We do have, I know on that last example, we did borrow that from one of our grantees from Kentucky, and we do have Clabe Sloan on with us. I think some other Kentucky grantees as well. So Clabe, I'm going to unmute your line. Are you able to talk now?
I was going to ask if Kentucky was on, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on, yes.
So Julie, I'm going to turn it back over to you, but I know any feedback on, we shared your text from your website, so any feedback on that? We did contact him ahead of time, so we knew this was going to be happening. So any thoughts on what Julie's shared with all of us?
Yeah, I think that what she's saying as far as trying to relate to the level of students today, where they're at, we have our career counselors that do a good job of doing that. I think about where our high school kids are pretty active on Twitter, social media. They're in the process of right now of creating small videos for their particular YCC programs at each high school level. And so I think we're kind of breaking the platform of how to get that done right now, but we still have a long ways to go. And some of the things that Julie has kind of said already to kind of back up what we need to do has been good information for us here. But the information we have on our website, that was kind of something I talked with other career counselors before I put that on there. We want to try to come up with a good slogan or a good platform to kind of open up as far as why would YCC kids want to be a part of their YCC program, and to tell them up front that it's not like a regular high school experience, but something you're going to gain experience in and gain relationships, and also gain through internships, employer engagement skills, something to get them ready after high school. They'll give them a leg up over other students that were not inside the program. So,
which is great. I mean, I think everything that is in that paragraph is fantastic, and I don't disagree with a thing you said. I would just like to, I think we all need to remember less is more, and so like more bullets, less paragraphs, short and sweet and concise is much more likely to be read. And I mean, honestly, even for adults, you think about what you read and what you don't read. And most adults today read extremely short blippets, not lengthy paragraphs. And I mean, I'm preaching to myself as much as to anybody. We just all need to remember that it's important to think less is more. And we get super excited about what we've got to offer. So just some thoughts.
Yeah, and Clay, I was going to say that you guys are doing those. How are those videos going for you, Kentucky? How the young people, are they doing them in groups? Are they doing them individually? How are you going to share those videos with as you do try to tell the community about your program?
Well, we're still in the beginning phases of the videos. Right now, each high school has a small group of at least up to five students that's working on the video, where they have to interview other students, interview teachers, administrators, employers, and just kind of ask them specific questions about, why YCC, why is YCC important, how is this going to be a contribution to our community, et cetera. So we actually were going to get those in by the end of, before Christmas actually, and we're going to look at those, try to combine all 10 videos into like a longer video for the whole YCC program. But each high school will have a little video or some video clips to show other students and other folks in the community about YCC.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. Thanks so much for that. Is anybody else, I guess, Angela, can I ask if anybody else, maybe in the chat feature, are doing videos or other type of items or packages to share with the community besides Kentucky? If I can ask that question as we talk about telling our story. I guess I'm having difficulty seeing the chat area, so I can't see it, Angela, but if you can let me know what people are typing in, that would be great, because I don't see it. If anybody else is doing a video or packages or folders or briefing materials, can you let us know about it?
I will keep you posted. I don't see anything currently, but please type in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll also take some time to open up the phone lines. So let us know, and we can do that for you, just like we had Clay speaking with us. So we do have Stacy Arietta. We have a packet that we're putting together for both our medical and technical pathways. And Jim Lynch said we use social media extensively. If either of you want to talk about that, we can definitely open up the phone lines. Just let me know.
Okay.
Stacy, do you want to share with us? I'm going to unmute you, Stacy, so I hope you do. Stacy, can you hear us? You're unmuted, so you can go ahead and talk, Stacy. Oh, she does not have speaker ability on her end. So she's also sharing with us there's something they use and students use to take out to the different businesses. Jim Lynch, do you want to share with us? I'm going to unmute your line.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm actually sending another link. We try very hard to use both Twitter and Facebook. But, the Twitter obviously is where the students are. Facebook is where, according to the kids, older people are.
Right.
And then I have I just put a link on the chat feature with just a WordPress kind of actually it's Blogspot, but a blog kind of a website where we keep cranking out information. And then I'll use the school's email listserv and crank out links to that, to all of those things on there. And then I can throw in our school's website. Right now we've had some pretty exciting stuff going on related to the grant, and I've been using the school's website for that. I'll see if I can get a link to our school website up quickly here. But I try to really hit it from multiple avenues, because everybody's checking different things. The school.
And one thing that we're working on too, Jim brings up a good point, one piece that we're trying to put together, make sure we have a great list of all of your Twitter accounts and your Facebook pages. You guys have asked us for that, and we're making sure that we get that together for you. So if that changes, or if you guys are adding more social media to your portfolio, please let us know, because what we like to do is, in a short order, share that list with everybody on the YCC team. Well, are you using Facebook, Twitter? Are you using blogs? Are you using newsletters? Are you in your websites as well? Where are you sharing your information? Because I think that's awesome as people try to share with each other and learn from each other, how to do this and how to make theirs better, lessons learned. So thank you, Jim, for bringing that up, because I think that's going to be great for us to know more about.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I think it speaks to the fact that one size does not fit all. If you're going to reach out to people and engage them in a conversation, which that's my goal, is to engage people in an ongoing conversation about the work of First Things First. And I think for Youth CareerConnect, it's the same kind of thing. You're trying to engage them, and you want them to get involved. So one size doesn't fit all, and we have to think about all the different ways that we can put things out there that might get people's attention. One thing I'll tell you about the videos, we have done a lot of work in that world, and right now the guidelines are truly less than a minute, 30 seconds to 60 seconds. If you get something that's 10 minutes, unless they're forced to watch it like at a Rotary Club where you are showing it, it's unlikely that they will watch the whole thing. So again, less is more. But I love it. Everything that you're talking about sounds fantastic. So we'll keep going with opportunities to tell the story. Media, and I'm talking about this. I'm going to give you all this information, and then I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of really not having a budget to be able to do these things in terms of create television commercials and so forth. But television interviews, a lot of us have the opportunity to get on daily shows to talk about what we are doing. And even though they tell you you are only going to have 3 minutes, 3 minutes is really an eternity if we've learned how to tell our story well, which is why we go back to the first slide where we talked about being able to talk about what you do in 3 sentences or less. You can get a lot of information into a 3-minute interview. And so thinking about in your community or in surrounding communities that feed into your community, what do you have access to in the way of news shows that would allow you to come on to tell the story, radio shows where they give you a 10-minute segment, back and forth question and answer, an opportunity for the community to call in and ask you questions about what you're doing, an opportunity for a student to be with you or a business leader to be with you and talk about the kinds of things that are happening. The digital platform we've kind of already addressed. The Chamber of Commerce, you may only have one Chamber of Commerce. In our community, we have 12 different council meetings, and they all meet on different days, and we could make the circuit going to all of them to have conversations about the kinds of things that we're doing. At the Chamber of Commerce council meetings, you have fantastic access to business leaders, elected officials, lots of different folks who can help you take ownership of this initiative so that it goes on into the future, not just for these 4 years. Manufacturers Association, the Medical Society, we talked about pediatrician offices, but also I just think about who am I after? Basically, if you are breathing and you are in this community, I'm after you. I don't care if you're retired. I don't care where you work. It's going to take all of us, an army of community citizens, to make this initiative successful. So the more people I can tell my story to, office managers in doctors' offices, people who work in hospitals because they have access to a lot of people. And there's lots of conversations that take place on the side where you think about how you learn. People learn about things over lunch, over coffee, in the break room. So we have lots of opportunity to put posters up and to tell our story. The civic organizations we've already discussed, parent, teacher, student associations. One of the things I know is that we tend to function in silos. So we may think that all of the people in our different schools know exactly what Youth Career Connect is. But from year to year, you have new teachers, people forget, it's not top of mind, and so if you haven't taken the time to, in a teacher meeting or in a parent-teacher student association meeting, to discuss what Youth Career Connect is and to give an opportunity for a testimony, don't overlook that as a great way to engage. And I've listed a few other opportunities here. Places of Faith, certainly this is a great Wednesday night program. Rec centers, because that's where the kids are. Center for Nonprofits, other nonprofits in the area that could be helpful to you. And I'm sure that you guys could add to the list, and I wish that you would. It's not a comprehensive list, but certainly just to get our brains wrapped around the idea of everywhere there's an opportunity. I just think whenever I see a group of people, that's opportunity just waiting for me to be able to tell the story. So what does that look like for you? Our next slide is the partnership piece of this. So if you wanted to do something with billboards or print media or actually have a television commercial out there about Youth Career Connect, one of the creative things that you can do is as you're working with companies, lots of your companies already are out there in the media. So they might already be running television commercials, or they might already have billboards that they've purchased for, they've got a year-long contract. And many companies, if you will ask them to help you create a billboard or a television commercial and let them do underwritten by whoever the company is, many of them will do that. It's not costing them anything extra, and it is a way to be supportive of a really fantastic community initiative. So asking for something like that, telling people what you need, a lot of people just assume you've got what you need and you're doing what you do. They don't know that you could really use more visibility, and one way that you could have that visibility is by billboards or by putting something in the newspaper or in a magazine that's a super popular magazine in your community. I'll give you an example of something that happened for us that totally came out of the blue, and it was because we had a conversation with our board, and we just said, we really see you as the ambassadors for First Things First. So as you're out in the community, we need you to be thinking about where we need to be speaking that we're not speaking, where we could have access to media that we don't have access to media, creative things that nobody else is doing that would allow us to spread the word. So it just so happens that one of our board members is the city manager for a company called Republic Parking. They manage parking lots across the country at airports mostly, but also in other places. And they're based here in Chattanooga. So the city manager came up to me and he said, I've really been thinking about what you said about being able to do some creative things. And there are these electric shuttles. So think public transportation buses, but a little bit smaller. And they're electric shuttles, and they go through the downtown area, and people can ride them for free. He said, I just signed a contract for 2 electric shuttles for 3 years, and I'd like to give one to you to wrap. So we wrapped that shuttle with something, with a wrap that says Healthy Relationships Start Here, firstthings.org, when we co-branded with Republic Parking. So on every side of that shuttle and on the roof, it says Healthy Relationships Start Here, firstthings.org, and then it has First Things First in Republic Parking. We're not paying a dime. We could not afford to do that. That shuttle travels throughout downtown Chattanooga and the most popular places all day long, every single day of the year. I would have never had that had he not come and said, I'd like to give this to you. It's those kinds of things that I think we're all looking for. There are people in the companies that you are currently working with that have people who are doing their digital platform and are doing videos for them that would probably love the idea of getting volunteer hours by being able to work with your teams who are putting together videos to make them super cool and relevant. Same thing with your websites, with your print media, with the flyers, the different kinds of ways that we're looking to engage. There are people in these companies and in your community at large that, if you will ask, will be helpful to you. But with that, I'm just going to say again, all of us, as we're seeking to do outreach and recruitment, we're only limited by our own creativity or lack thereof. And so it isn't just about thinking outside the box, it's really about acting outside the box. One of my most successful recruiters is someone who actually came through our class and came up to me after class and said, this is the best thing I've ever done. Tell me what I can do for you. And I said, go and tell other people. And to this day, she is fantastic at getting out into the community and telling everybody who will give her the time of day about being a part of what First Things First is doing. So let me open it up for questions at this point, or for other ideas from folks who are on the call.
So Angela, you have the control. So I'm going to pass it off to you to kind of control, let the audience know when they can, chime in and share, please, by all means.
Well, while we are waiting for some grantees to share with us, and just send us a note in the chat and I'll unmute your line. Bob Tyra, who's one of our coaches, I hope you're listening to us. I'm going to turn it over to you because I know he's been working with some of his grantees on some infographics, and maybe just share that idea a little bit while we get everyone's juices flowing. Who else wants to share? So Bob Tyra, are you still with us? I'm unmuting your line if you want to share with us.
Well, yeah, I'm here, and it's been a really good webinar. I really like the ideas of everybody's going to be a potential friend and defining benefits for people who get involved with us. With the infographics, Stacy's on the line as well. We created an infographic for her, and the nice thing about the infographic was that we were able to put a video on top of the video inside the infographic because it has that capacity. And the infographic was a 2-minute television visitation to the program. So it was a really nice thing. It was the kids talking and the teacher talking about the program on a local news show. So that was, it combined two different things. The infographic was very punchy. It talked about what classes you take, why you want to do this, and wrapped up with, get in touch with us and let us know how you want to get signed up for this class. But the other thing, the nice capacity of it to carry a video forward was great. And just the other part of the wrap-up, I did a lot of life after high school guidebooks out here in California. And I want to back up what was said before by Julie in terms of pictures. And the kids told us in our focus groups, pictures of other kids are really important. Because they say, if I see another kid doing it, and I think I could do that if they can do it.
Yeah.
And that we found that out. And the other thing that was really kind of surprising to us was that we had a lot of career and college information, and it was like we cut this text by 20%, and we probably increased sales by 50% by cutting the text out of the books that we were publishing. And the other part of that was that we put a section in on personal well-being and mental health, because we talk to kids, they say, we're getting way too many messages on go to college, go to career, do this, but nobody really talks about what's really happening out there, and that the fact is that most of the kids that we're around are way overweight, they're eating crazy food, they're getting high, they're doing this and that, and they have all these really mental health issues. And we put a section in the on mental health in the book, and it was very, very popular. So just a couple of lessons we learned.
Fantastic.
If you hit students not only just on the fact that you're going to make money, but you're going to feel like a better person for being involved, and whatever. They said that was huge. They said everybody tells us what we can do to make money. Nobody really tells us what we can do to be really happy and working well with other people and feeling good about ourselves.
That's wonderful.
Well, we haven't had any other grantees volunteer to share. Feel free to, if you just want to type it in the chat, we can also read that for you if you don't want to talk, or if you're not able to talk because you don't have a microphone on your computer or your setup, what you're doing. Let us know if you want to share. Otherwise, I'll turn it back over to you, Julie and Maisha.
Well, Julie, while we wait, do you have any final words before we proceed to share with the grantees our next steps?
I would just say that I think what you're doing is outstanding, and it is so desperately needed. And it's easy to get discouraged when people don't jump on your ship really quickly when you know you're doing something good. But I would say keep putting one foot in front of the other, and don't don't be intimidated by that. Share your story. Know that you may try something and it doesn't work. Okay, do something different. But don't keep doing the same thing over and over again, knowing that it's not getting you what you need. I love the infographic. I love the idea of the video. I love cutting down the text and the photos of other students. So I think we can all learn from each other, and I hope that we're doing that a lot so that we're not spending a lot of time reinventing the wheel, but we are moving everybody forward. I definitely believe a rising tide lifts all boats. So whatever I'm learning, I want to pass on and share with others, and I want them to share with me so that we can really make this the best initiative possible. So good luck, and I'm excited about what you guys are doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie, for your time and your energy, your expertise. And I hope that the time that we spent together kind of got people's minds bubbling up and thinking about ways of engagement and utilizing tools that are effective but not that expensive. You spoke about a lot of things that you could do for free that are very inexpensive, and just looking at your partnerships and connections that you already have in our community to share with folks what's going on. So I'm so excited to have this time, and this is a great opportunity. Everybody, you know the drill. You know how to reach us if you need any help with anything. If you have any questions or clarifying questions for this presentation or any presentation or anything that's going on, please let us know at the YCC account. Just to give you all a heads up, we will be having a grantee check-in call on Thursday, December 10th at 2 p.m. This is the opportunity where we want to hear from you. We're going to be very silent. And when I say we, I'm talking about the federal office, the national office. We want to hear from you what's going on, and Angela's going to be leading this conversation. Just find out how you're doing. What have you learned in this year? What are you expecting to do? What have you improved on as we go forward? So we are always learning from you all there that are doing the hard work with our students, engaging our business partners. What are your lessons learned? What can we take to other grantees in the youth office and other places with our partners? So we're looking forward to that time. I hope you all can join us at that time and have maybe more than one folks, maybe have a team join us, and we can hear from different voices. That'll be great. I just want to thank you all again. We're working diligently here at the national office, and please always let us know what other TA you need. So you put that in the chat feature. Let us know what other topics you want to discuss, and we want to make sure we meet those needs. And do not forget, when you close out this webinar, there will be a poll. We really would appreciate if you complete that poll for us. Those are very important to us as we continue to improve, again, our technical assistance. So with that being said, have a happy Thanksgiving. We look forward to hearing from you all in early December. Angela?
Thank you, Maisha. And we did get one more comment from one of our grantees.
Oh, we did?
It looks like, yes, from Josh Henderson. And he sent it to everybody, so hopefully you've all seen that. He said, we lead our YCC program in our community in a push to become a work-ready certified community, and it has been very beneficial for getting access to having others understand what YCC is and how it can help the future of our community. Work-ready communities are granted, sorry, I just moved on my screen, are granted through the Cabinet for Economic Development.
Oh, nice.
So Josh, do you want to share anything else about that? We can unmute your line. I'm probably just going to do it anyway just to see if you want to share with us. So Josh, he can only chat as well.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing that with us, Josh.
Okay. Awesome. That's awesome because I see a lot of connections there, right? You got a lot of different pieces there. And everybody seems to be talking the same language, work-ready certified community. That's really innovative and great that you were able to get that going, or not get that going, but be a part of that and continue that energy of your community. Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right, and that is all that we have today. So thank you, everyone, for joining with us. Thank you, Julie, for sharing, and Maisha for leading us today. We hope that everyone has a great rest of your week, and we look forward to talking with all of you in December with our grantee check-in call. So thanks, and have a great day.
Okay, bye.